Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust. Can you believe we are already into July and we have had 6 months of 2025?
So how are you doing with your 2025 goals? Well, what we try and do is every quarter we have a bit of a review. So coming up is our review of our Q2 goals for 2025. If we're all really honest in life, we've all got goals and aspirations, and as we've moved through to early retirement, our goals and aspirations change slightly. We've still got so much stuff that we want to do in our life, and we try to categorise it into a career as such, our health, our relationships, and our personal learning and development. But I think if we're all honest, we all probably set annual goals, but how often do we revisit them and how do we hold ourselves to account? And the way we try and keep ourselves on it is by sharing with our YouTube community what we've been up to over the course of the last quarter, the successes we've had, and perhaps the areas we need to double down on to try and meet those annual goals that we set way back in January. So what we want to do in this video is to quickly go through some of our goals, let you know how we've been getting on, and let you know some of the things that we are going to tweak over the course of the next quarter.
So the first area that we set our annual goals in was a career. Now, obviously, we're early retired. We don't particularly have a career, but YouTube has probably replaced what was our working life. And we did have some targets that we had to set ourselves to do with YouTube. The first one being to just try and grow the channel at a nice gentle pace, and that is still working. We have probably got about another 3,000 subscribers over the last 3 months, and we still can't believe actually how much the channel is growing.
No, we never set out for this, and if you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know that really it was just something to probably keep me busy after I moved out of my career into early retirement. But we've really enjoyed the process. We're finding it so much easier to talk on camera. There's still a way to go in terms of relaxing, and we still get a little bit stressed about it. But in terms of the process, we're really enjoying it, and the community that we're building up around the channel is just fantastic.
In actual fact, our target for the whole year was to reach 25,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so we're absolutely smashing it at the moment.
And one of the knock-on effects of YouTube is that we're getting a little bit more exposure to almost like the business world, and this is something that we never saw coming. So last quarter we had 2 priorities. We've never done any collaborations or paid collaborations before, and we always said if we were going to do it, it would be something that we truly believe in. And over the last quarter we've had 2 little projects, one with the Welsh Tourist Board and one with the Robbie Rome's travel guides.
The Welsh Tourist Board was just a really exciting opportunity. We were approached to do a couple of videos for both their YouTube channel and for our YouTube channel, just promoting North Wales, and it was fab. We had such a lovely week.
And we learned so much from it in terms of working with a professional organisation, because we are just amateurs stumbling into this, and it was really good to have meetings and discussion points, and really to get someone to look over our coverage and produce some content that fits not just our needs but other people's needs. And then the second thing, which has just absolutely blown our mind, has been the success of the work that we've done with No Fuss Travel Guides.
Yeah, we met Robbie Rome's at the NEC when we went there in February, and he's such a lovely person. And when we were asked if we would like to promote the Robbie Rome's guides as part of our travels, we did jump at the opportunity, because if you do watch the channel, books and travel books is our real passion, and the books are great. We are hoping to do a little bit more collaboration with Robbie later in the year, because he's just brought out a French travel guide and it fits in pretty well with the travels that we've got coming up.
And that's the first time that No Fuss Travel Guides had ventured out into Europe, so we're really quite excited about that, but hopefully a little bit of more news of that later in the year.
I have to say, we've done those 2 collaborations. We are still a channel that are not massively wanting to do a lot of collaborations, because it's not where the direction that we see ourselves taking. They were just 2 opportunities that came up and fitted in with what we want. It's not to say that we're going to be doing lots of other collaborations from now on.
I'm really pleased at how my freelance writing sort of project is carrying on. It's something that I started when I was actually working, and if you don't know much about the channel, I didn't really have much confidence in my writing ability when I was at school, and I think it's a scar or a chip that I've carried on my shoulder for quite some time, whereas doing travel writing now has just been absolutely fantastic. And we've got a couple of articles coming out in magazine, and it's really pleasing that people want to read about the travels that we do and have a look at the photos and the advice that we give in those articles. So yeah, that has been a really successful bit of progress over the course of this quarter.
But the biggest successful progress of this quarter has to be that we have finally got our garden shed up and in place. It's been a target for the last 18 months. Last year we were just so busy travelling that we just didn't get around to doing anything in the garden. This summer we've already got the garden shed put up, and we have started working on the bottom half of our garden, and we're actually home for the summer now, so hopefully we will start getting more bits and bobs done on the garden. We might even get the garden landscaped a little bit.
I just love the fact that if you're new to the channel or you're new to this video, you'll be going like, what on earth are they going on about Project Shed? You cannot believe what an issue this was. Almost like an albatross around our neck. We are the greatest procrastinators. We've avoided it, and then eventually I think we've sort of shamed ourselves over the last few quarters, haven't we? In terms of, Jackie said, yeah, come on, we've got to get our big boys and girls pants on and just get it done. So yeah, that is a huge milestone for us, and an absolute example of sometimes just getting stuck in, because you've got to get stuck in to actually start a project.
You'll actually laugh when you see the photos of the shed. It is actually a shed that was probably built for very small people. It's tiny, it's only a bike shed, but it's perfect for what we need.
And we love it.
Another thing that's happened this quarter that's really exciting is that we've finally ordered our new van. Again, if you have watched the channel for a while, you'll know that we've procrastinated probably for the last 18 months because it's such a big decision. Lots of people have asked us what we've gone for. We have mentioned it before, but we have gone for a Sunlight Cliff Adventure 5 meters 40, and I cannot wait. We hopefully should get it by October.
It's really exciting, and we get loads of comments on the channel about people that are new to van life, and we definitely are feeling that again. It's like, It's going to be so different to Nelson. We think we've got the decision right, but there's that feeling of trepidation as to, will it really fit our needs? But yeah, we're so excited, and welcoming a new van into the family. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know if we're more excited or our son, because we are actually keeping Nelson because we've got 2 adult children, and they are really excited to start their van life journey as well.
So Nelson's not disappearing, and he may make appearances on the channel in the future, which is, again, really exciting because it's an opportunity for us to build memories with the kids.
Yep.
And then the final thing that we've worked on in terms of career, or perhaps like the YouTube brand or something like that, is we've been asked by a lot of people about merchandise. And again, it's something that we've sort of stayed away from because A, we never realised that people would be interested in all of that, and we never set out to do that. But B, obviously, if we're going to do it, we want to do it right. And we have got a wonderful niece who is a graphic designer. She designed the logo for the channel way back in the day, and we are just doing some provisional work with her over a potential small limited merchandise release of maybe a few t-shirts and maybe a few sweatshirts, but it's just us dipping our toe in the water to see whether we really like it or not.
I'm really excited because I want some nice branded sweatshirts for me to wear. Everyone laughs that I wear the same jumper all the time, so hopefully you'll see some different tops from Jackie.
So that's an exciting development. What we're planning on is having a sort of a winter release and a sort of spring-summer release, so hopefully for Christmas, maybe end of October, there might be some sort of merch out there that you can have a look at, where obviously just doing it from a completely selfish point of view because we want some new sweatshirts and t-shirts. So that's the way we're working it. Our next set of goals and aspirations are all to do with relationships. And one of the things that we found from early retirement is that we've got so much more time for quality relationships. Quite often we found when we were working, things went on a bit of a back burner. And that's certainly true in terms of my relationship with my mum. Mum has got dementia and she's in a care home at the moment. So we are responsible for her care, and we are her lasting powers of attorney. So we've got various responsibilities. I mean, I take those really seriously because, I want mum to be cared for as much as she cared for, me when I was a youngster. So part of providing for her care costs is that we've gone through the process of having to sell her house, and it wasn't quite as easy as it seems. It's been a long, protracted project because there was mild subsidence in the house, and that had to be rectified through the insurance companies, and we'd got that done by the end of last quarter, and this quarter's aim was to get it up for sale and on the market and the house cleared. Not an easy job when it's your childhood home and you've got all of those emotions tied up in the house, but we managed to do it. It's been on the market and it is, fingers crossed, sold subject to contract. So that's developing really nicely. It will be a hefty weight taken off our minds really when that's sold. It's not something I'm looking forward to because it's the only house that I grew up in, but it needs must, and it's not the house it was. It used to be a really happy house, and now it's been a house that's been empty for a while, so it needs to go to some other family that can develop it and have all those happy memories based in the house.
Something that we just love about being early retired is, obviously Rich has mentioned it before, just having lots and lots of time to ourselves. And the biggest thing is spending lots of quality time with our family. So we are on our 7-week road trip around Spain and Portugal at the moment, and my family came out and joined us for 2 weeks. So we had a really nice time with my mum, my sister and her family. We also have had a lot of time with our children. They live quite close to my mum. We're all quite closely living near each other now. We're all within an hour and a half of each other. So we've spent quite a lot of quality time with our children as well, which we didn't do for many years because they both lived down in Cardiff.
And I have to say, star of the show has to be Tato. Georgia and Molly have got a little kitten that is absolutely adorable, and we get almost daily updates like proud grandparents of a new kitten. But that's just wonderful, and it's really nice to spend time with the kids. You know, they're very busy, they're working, but we can fit in around that and, as we say, have that quality time together.
And we're really excited. Over the next quarter, we are actually in the country for most of it. So we have got lots of family time planned, lots of time catching up with friends and people coming up to stay in the Dales. So happy times ahead.
And the last thing on relationships might sound a little bit strange, but we set out at the start of this quarter to have time together and time apart as a couple. And it's not really worked out quite that way, has it?
Well, it doesn't help that we're on a 7-week road trip, which is nearly 2 months. The idea's come around because actually, since we've early retired, we've probably only spent about 2 weeks apart in total. We do everything together, and there's not a bad thing. We get on really well. We are best friends. In fact, we really like each other's company, but we don't do anything massively apart. That actually will change in the next quarter because I am going to go and stay with my mum in Cheshire for a while. She's having an operation on her knee, and Richard's got a couple of hikes that he wants to do. So we've shifted that target to the next quarter. And actually, I'm looking forward to being back where we lived for 20 years, catching up with lots of my old friends, going out and do the ladies at lunch thing. And I'm thinking you're probably looking forward to a few quiet days without me hiking and moaning.
Yeah, I'll just have my home on my back, living in a tent and wandering around the Yorkshire Dales, which just does not get any better. So really excited about that.
So the third area that we set our targets in is to do with our health and well-being. For me, that's pretty much the same thing most years. I set myself a target to do 300,000 footsteps in a month, and I'm trying to do the equivalent of climbing Mount Everest 4 times in a year. And at the moment, I'm smashing both targets. I've hit well over 300,000 footsteps each month, and I'm about 2,000 metres into my 3rd Everest. And on the day of recording, it's the 3rd of July, so that's not bad going.
No, and it's a really good, simple way of tracking activity, because this has been a tough one for us in terms of health, because what we really want to do, because we spend so much time on the road, we want to try and maintain our fitness on the road. And it is a little bit problematic when you are living out of a small van. We do remain really active when we're on the road, and you'll have seen from the videos, we're out biking, we like swimming, we like hiking, climbing mountains and all of that. But when you think about some of the other aspects of fitness, like strength, which is so important when we are getting older and we are losing our strength day by day, and also for me, mobility, because I'm just stiff as a board and all my joints are really struggling to keep up with movement, I really need to find a way to work on some strength and work on some mobility on the road. And it's not easy.
No, I've pretty much given up on it. I think I'm just going to, whenever we're home, we do our little fitness challenges. You'll have seen we do lots of different daft mind games, really, but they do keep us fit, and we do some strength work when we're at home. It's just on the road, but we're so active, I'm not worried about that.
Well, one of the significant improvements we've had to do with our health when we're on the road is we've really had a focus this quarter on focusing on our diet on the road, our alcohol consumption on the road, and for me, my sleep pattern on the road. So regarding food,
We've been much better, actually. We are sort of shopping every 2 or 3 days, eating lots of fresh foods, eating lots of salad, eating lots of barbecues when the weather's been okay to be out doing that. Eating lots of watermelon, which obviously helps with the hydration as well. Trying to live a working life, so Friday and Saturday we might have a few beers or a wine, but we've been pretty good.
yeah, so those of you that are perhaps new to early retirement, one of the biggest challenges we found is that when you are traveling, it's so easy to just live life like it's one long holiday, and you can't live 7 weeks like it's a holiday, because we would be just absolutely battered. So we're trying to get as much consistency as we can, as if we were living at home, but as Jackie said, having those treats when we're out on the road.
We've been pretty good as well at drinking lots of water, because that was one thing I particularly have not been great at in the past. I've got myself a nice new flask and probably trying to drink 3 or 4 of those in a day, which I suppose in the weather when it's this hot isn't hard, but drinking so much more water than I used to.
And in terms of sleep routine for me has been a big issue all of my working life, and it continues to be an issue in early retirement. And I think I'd gotten, when I was at home, my sleep routine absolutely nailed, because I was keeping my phone well out of the way. It's not quite as easy as that when you're in the van and you can literally just reach over to the phone, but I've been purposely trying to make sure that I don't have much screen time before bedtime. I put the phone as far away as possible so I don't reach for it in the middle of the night, and I'm doing a lot more reading. So if I do wake up in the night, I just grab the Kindle, have a read of a few pages, and then I'm back to sleep. So that has really, really improved over the course of this last quarter.
And I've read so much more than I normally do, and again, like Richard, I am not looking at my phone when we go to bed. I'm trying to read, and that is definitely helping with the quality of getting to sleep and staying asleep.
And our final area of goals, which will come as no surprise from 2 ex-teachers, is that we firmly believe in lifelong learning. And I'll put my hand up to start with. This goal for me has changed significantly, because I wanted to make sure that I got back into digital photography. Since we've been doing the YouTube channel, everything has gone down the videography route, and I've hardly got the DSLR out. And I haven't made any progress on that. But there is a good counter argument for that, in the fact that you might be aware on the channel that we invested in a small drone, a really cheap drone, and I'm just trying to learn my skills in terms of drone piloting. So I've made really good progress on that, because the drone actually can fly itself, and I'm actually learning how to control it with the controller. So a small goal, but something that I've worked hard on over the course of this last quarter.
And my target, still failing miserably at, is that by the end of this holiday, hopefully I will have driven in mainland Europe, and I will have driven on the wrong side of the road. So when we're heading back up through France, I am hopefully going to bite the bullet and have a go at driving.
Yeah, it's just something that, we've got to get used to, perhaps, and it's going to be all different when we're in a new van, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got the joys of automatic driving as well, which should be interesting.
Yeah, I've never driven it. That could be my target for next quarter or the last quarter. I've never driven an automatic car or a van, so yeah, that's going to be interesting.
And then the last little thing from me is that, as Jackie's already mentioned, I'm going to be doing some trekking around the Yorkshire Dales, some multi-day hikes. I did one of these last year in the Dales Way, and it was a steep learning curve, so I've vowed this time that I'd do a little bit more research on it, and I'm looking to be doing 2 hikes, and I'm pretty much got it all nailed now in terms of what I'm going to do. I'm not entirely sure when we're going to do it over the summer, but I've got the Heriot Way, which is a 4-day trek just to bed me into it, and then the Dales Highway, which is going to be a very different challenge over the course of about a week, but really looking forward to that, and just got to stretch yourself a little bit.
So that's it from us. Another quarter done. We're halfway through the year. Lots of goals already achieved, and looking forward to working on our goals for the rest of the year.
One of the reasons we do this is, as we said at the start, to hold ourselves to account and to just make sure people are checking up on us. If you want to share your goals or how your goals this year are going, please pop them in the comments below, because we love reading those, and it's really good way to just review your progress over the course of the year.
So from a sunny Spain, that's it from us, and we will see you next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.